just a personal thing that I'm kind of deciding on the fly here. Last week, for Valley Health anyway, we observed a year that we've been dealing with COVID in our organization. And I know there's been a lot of attention drawn to the fact that it's been a year. I would like to ask everybody if you would please join me for a moment of silence for those who have battled COVID, both those who have recovered and those individuals and families who have suffered the loss of loved ones because of COVID. So please join me for a moment of silence if you would. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right. Again, good to see everybody this morning on this, what I think is going to be a dreary Wednesday. Let's start our meeting with Happy Dollars. Today we are back to supporting our Skyline High School scholarships, as well as helping to build up our funds for additional service projects by covering our scholarship funds. So if you are happy this morning, let's hear from you. And I see Mary Jo's hand first. All right.
I'm going to give credit to Shane. Shane gave $5 Happy Dollars early yesterday, and he's not on the phone, so I'm going to give him credit for that today.
Okay.
He's just happy, I think, that things are progressing in his school and life. And I'm also happy. I don't know. Oh, I'm going back to my daughter's for personal training. So yeah, today's my first day for 3 days a week. So you know, it was really nice not doing it, but it's even better doing it.
So how happy are you?
How happy am I?
What dollar amount?
Oh, $5. Sorry.
Thank you very much. All right. Who else is happy this morning?
Oops, wrong hand.
All right. I saw Sam's first, then Kathy's.
All right. I'm happy for $5 for Arlene for all those pots she makes for the supper every year. And I'm happy for Kathy Napier for her amazing work for the district this year, probably more than her regular job.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for Hank and for the award for the newsletter this year.
So was that $5 total, Cian?
That's 15.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Kathy, I saw your hand next.
Yeah, I've got $5 for Bill Scholler for our award for best club website, and $5 for Hank for our best newsletter, and $5 for Arlene for all her bowls. Thank you. $5 for Melanie for that wonderful club video she did for us. Now, where's my total now? I've forgotten how much I've been. 20. All right. And I'm throwing in another 10. I'm happy district conference and memorial service are over.
And I forgot to add Bill and Melanie. That was my bad too. So I'm actually $25, I think.
And I think I'm 30, right, Mary Jo?
You are. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Who else is happy this morning? Rob Grimm, I saw yours next, and then Elizabeth, I'll get you, and then Arlene.
Yeah.
You remember that.
I'll do 20. I'm happy because going through my mom's stuff, I found, okay, this one here, this is my dad's Bronze Star.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh.
Here we go.
Wow.
And this one here is something that's pretty amazing. I don't know if you can read that. Distinguished Flying Cross.
Whoa.
Which is
DSC.
pretty rare. You know, people like Buzz Aldrin and Collins and those guys got one. So my
Wow.
dad got this flying B-17s from England to Germany back in World War II. So
Wow.
That is so cool.
Wow.
pretty cool. And then there's, 25 or so other ones that are from the different campaigns he was on. So it was kind of cool going through those. And in the military record, it's just like a bunch of 3-letter acronyms, all strung together on 3 lines of paper, but they all mean one of these. So it's pretty cool. anyway, so 20 for that.
That's great. Thank you. All right, let's see. I saw Elizabeth next, then Arlene, and I see George has got his hand, and then Bill Scholler. All right, so Elizabeth, you're up.
First, Robert, that's great. That's a wonderful keepsake. Gosh. Okay, let's see. So I'm down for $20 for 4 reasons. Number one, congratulations to our indomitable newsletter editor. He does just an amazing job, and I'm glad that he gets the recognition. Oh, Hank, I have the most awesome octopus socks. I should have worn them so you could see them. It's an octopus reading a book. I'll wear them next time. Anyway, number 2 for Bill Scholler and our best website, and most especially the a wonderful picture of the rubber chicken that is for my photo. Love it. Been wanting to tell you for a long time. And let's see, number 3 is for me, because I am finally, after a series of really badly timed migraines, I've been having to miss several meetings, and I am doing okay this morning. And number 4 is for my daughter, Natalie, who many of you know and have known since she was a little tyke, who is helping spread mulch at the Linden Playground.
With Dr.
I'm sorry. Anyway, there was the regional science fair this weekend virtually at JMU, and she not only won 2 special awards, but she won gold in her category, and which sends her on to the state fair. But even better, we were in shock. I screamed. Fortunately, we were muted. She won the grand prize, which is sending her directly to the international science fair. And out of some 5 million kids who do science fair around the world, there's about 1,600 that get to go to ISEF. And she just learned last night that she's one of them, and she's so pleased. She's been working so hard the last couple of years and has really cool results that they are also hoping, she and her advisor are also hoping that they can publish. So anyway, that's my catch-up news. But yeah, most especially to Hank and Bill, because I know I rambled on about Natalie, but you always have to ramble on about your kids. But I'm especially happy for you guys because you've done so much work for way longer than just 2 years. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's see. Arlene, I had you next on my list, and then yes, Peggy, I just added you to the roll too. Arlene.
Hi, I have $10, and I would like to do $5 for all the volunteers who have been helping paint the bowls. They're coming along. I think I have close to 100 bowls now, and so that's good. So the goal is 200 by the end of next month. So, and the other $5 is I have 4 of my grandbabies visiting with me to add to my busy schedule. And the youngest one is 2 years old, and he's floating around here at the moment. So yeah, it's been a busy life.
But that's a good kind of busy with the grandchildren.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, George, I've got you next on my list.
Hey, Melanie, thanks. So I have $20 for all of the awards that our club won. You know, we have a tradition of doing well in district conference awards, and that tradition has been held high under your leadership and all the hard work of the members of our club. I also have $20 for the district conference. after a year of some pretty bad Zoom meetings, online meetings, and everything else that has happened, I think our district and Nancy and her team and Kathy, and I know there was a lot of assistance from Ron as well. I think we had an absolutely superb event, and I have $20 for that. And then one of the awards that we won was district website. And gosh, I guess it's maybe 7 years ago now when I was president of the club. Bill was a new member of the club. And one of the things that he and I did was revamp our club's website. And we won club website that year. Now, Bill Scholler does all kinds of work for our club in the background. He also has done a lot of stuff for me and rarely, if ever, has charged me a cent for it. And so I have $100 to say thank you to Bill Scholler for all that he does for our club and what he has done for me personally. So I think that's $140.
Great. Thank you, George. Thanks very much. And I agree with you about the district conference. I thought it went so well. And having the virtual format, I thought, talk about making the best of a difficult situation. They really did.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
so bummed I missed it.
Oh, you can still watch it online.
Oh, that's
We'll
right.
talk about that in a second.
Good.
Yep. All right, Bill Scholler, you're up next.
Well, I appreciate the comments. And if this doesn't create too much work for the treasurer, I got the invoices for the domain names for the club. I'll go ahead and pay that. And if you can just put $30 into the Happy Dollars on my behalf for that. If it's more work, I'll send you the bill, but hopefully that'll work. And I'll contribute that to Rob Grimm's haircut.
All right, so $30 either for Rob Grimm's haircut or to take care of the domain renewal, right?
It's
Well,
both. It's both.
No.
Wait, I know what he's saying.
Thank
Yeah.
you. As long as you do, that's what counts. Thank you.
I'll let him know if it's too taxing on my poor COVID brain. I'll work it out, Bill.
Okay.
Okay. And Peggy, your hand was raised next.
Yes, I'd like to give $20 and Mary Jo, let me know if I go over what I've already sent in. But anyway, I'd like to give $20, not to a specific person, but just in recognition of the volunteers from our club that are going to be helping with Tuesday's table. It's all taken care of. And yesterday, I'll give $5 for yesterday because I got a day off.
Yay.
That's a good thing.
You seem happy, Peggy.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? Have I missed anybody? All right, well, then I'm going to put in $50, not only to recognize our club for our awards. Thank you, Hank. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, everyone from the club, because it takes a village for both of those initiatives. So everyone who's involved in helping to communicate and promote our club, thank you all. For great district conference, also for Kathy Napier, good grief, I don't know when you sleep. And for your incredible term that you're finishing up this year as AAG. I at least like to feel like I've got some idea of some of what you have to do in the background as AAG, but goodness, having to do it in COVID is just that extra layer. So kudos to you.
Thank you. It's been a challenging year.
Yes, it has. So I don't know how that all works out. Divide that however you want, Hank and Mary Jo, but $50.
I don't divide, I just add.
All right. Thank you all. And again, today, this is the Happy Dollars will go toward not only funding our scholarships, but as we are building up that kitty that helps us with service overall. So thank you all this morning. Just a reminder, you've always got two ways to pay. You can either use the Give Lively link that's in the newsletter every week for Happy Dollars, or you can send a check to the PO box, either way. And since we've been talking about district conference, I want to just mention that briefly. We had 16 club members, if Michael and I counted correctly on Saturday, who were able to participate on the day in terms of listening to the district conference. But if you weren't able to do it that day, not to fear. The recording is on the district website. So you can actually get to it. It's pretty easy. If you go into on the club website, you can just click on district conference. It'll take you to a page where you can click on and then get to the actual recording. Again, like I said, I went back and looked to make sure that I'd gotten our awards down correctly. So you really can. Cian, yes, ma'am. You've got your hand raised.
You're muted.
Is it possible to just see our club video from the conference by itself?
It just so happens that I can send you. This is gonna sound really vain, and I don't mean it that way, but I can send the actual points in the video where it plays. So yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
I don't know that I can retrieve it out of the entire recording, but I can tell you where it is. Yeah.
Somewhere there's probably an MP3 that is just our video.
Probably, but I don't have it. But that's okay. I can tell you where it is. So I'll send that out. The other thing from the district standpoint, again, those of you who are participating in CTT, we still do have sessions going on. I know Kathy, I put that on my list because I was afraid your internet would not cooperate this morning.
Thank you.
Anything else though from the district level? But of course, pets I know is coming up, and Mary Jo and Peggy I know are geared up for that. But for CTT, anything above and beyond that?
This week's CTT is public image, and that'll be Amber Wilborn, and she's going to be doing a lot of different things, but focusing on brand and using the correct Rotary brand, and also how to get into brand and do things like that, and Facebook, social media as well too, and how that ties into membership. So I think it'll be a great session. So anybody interested, please join us at 5 o'clock on Thursday.
And again, remember, you don't have to be on the board, you don't have to be a committee chair or anything like that to do the CTT, just an interest in learning more about Rotary and the topics that are presented. So I encourage everybody to do that. From the other thing, just a reminder, if anyone took advantage of the district map for the Rotary Foundation, hopefully you saw the note that toward, I guess, the bottom of Gary Norris's email. If you have paid online and you've gotten your acknowledgement, your tax acknowledgement from the Rotary Foundation, make sure you send that to him so that the district knows that it's eligible for the match. Have I said that correctly, Kathy?
Yes.
I know I got my receipt from the Rotary Foundation yesterday and just forwarded it on to Gary.
Yeah.
Cian, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and at the district level, I don't know if Michael mentioned this at our last meeting because I couldn't be there, but he and I are involved with the disaster planning group. Oh, yes. And we'll keep you abreast of what's going on. And I continue to represent us at the Northwestern Community Substance Abuse Task Force, the Northern Virginia SAC. And unfortunately, we have had almost a doubling of deaths and overdoses since the stimulus checks went out.
I've seen that earlier. Yeah. All right. From the club perspective, we have a couple of events coming up. Peggy has already referenced one of them, which is Tuesday's Table coming up on Tuesday the 30th, which is next Tuesday. So it sounds like, Peggy, we're all set for that. That's great. Thank you, everybody who's helping out. Those of us who are volunteering day of, we should be there at 4-ish, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. All right. And again, based on feedback that Carol Hardy and has gotten about the numbers, the plan was to plan for 60, correct? For those who are fixing casseroles?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. And also this coming Saturday, weather's going to be great. And we have scheduled a roadside cleanup for Kendrick Lane. Michael, if you would share with us just a reminder about that.
Sure. If you can make it, we would love to have you. And if you're comfortable coming out, we're going to meet at the police station at 9 a.m. Well, we're going to start at 9 a.m. So if you could get there about 8:45, that would be good. If you have your own trash pickers and your own gloves, that would be great. I'll have a certain amount of latex gloves. So if you're allergic to latex, bring your own gloves. Also, if you happen to have 5-gallon buckets with handles, I'm asking people to bring those because some of the areas, especially around the fence line area at RMA across from the apartments, it's kind of hard to get down in there. And it's a lot easier and probably more efficient if people have some buckets they can bring to put the trash in there, and then we'll transfer that to the bags. I've got plenty of bags and vests and all the signage, and I'll take care of all that. But it's a complete mess. So the more people, the merrier. And it's always a fun time for those of us that are there. Bring your own water bottle, your own coffee, because nobody ever drinks the stuff that I bring. So I'm just tired of buying it.
All right, thank you, Michael. One last club announcement that I want to call your attention to in this week's newsletter. And I don't know who's going to speak to this, whether it's Hank, Barbara, Michael, I'm not quite sure, but you will notice if you've looked at this week's club newsletter that there's a graphic element, honk if you love Rotary. And as you may have read, we've gotten a small number of t-shirts available with that particular artwork on it. And I'm fortunate enough to have one that I wore during the district conference. Not that anybody could see me, but I did have one on. So thanks to the group of you who were responsible for that. Barbara, Michael, Hank, anybody want to say anything about that?
Hank can speak to it.
Michael did all the legwork. He went to national media, arranged for the shirts to be made, and they will be happy to make additional shirts. But this grew out of a conversation very late one night in June with District Governor Nancy, talking about her view and her hope that the geese would symbolize her clubs in the district, rising above the pandemic. And we talked about it, and she came up with a design about 11:15, 11:20 that night. And we said, that would make a great t-shirt, but nothing ever came of it until last week when I got with Michael, and Michael went to national media and made all the arrangements. So thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you. So again,
thank you to
sent-
Hank for organizing it. If anybody wants to get a t-shirt, let me know. I mean, I think some people say they don't have anything with Rotary on it. I mean, it was only $12. So, I mean, if anybody wants one, Mike will be happy to make some more for you. Sorry to interrupt, Hank. Go ahead.
That's okay.
We sent one to District Governor Nancy. She got it Monday. We haven't heard anything. Maybe she's still in shock.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Debbie, I will ask you, if you will, to introduce our speaker for today. And as I said, Meredith, you're a co-host, so you'll be able to share your screen when you
Okay.
I would ask everyone else if you would please mute.
Happy to introduce to you this morning our guest speaker, Meredith Blauvelt Miller. And as some of you may know, Meredith is the daughter of two very special Rotarians, our own Dave Blauvelt, and her mother is Betsy Blauvelt. Meredith has lived in the Front Royal area her whole life and was very proud to return to our Front Royal area after her graduation from college to begin her career. In 1997, she started teaching at Ressie Jeffries Elementary School. Over the course of her career, she's moved around to different schools within the county. And finally, she finds herself back at Ressie Jeffries after many years later. It's so amazing teaching the children of the students that she had taught so many years ago. Teaching is something that she feels that she was born to do. It fulfills her in a way that nothing else could. Education has changed so much over the years, but this year was a game changer. And so that's the segue, and we're going to turn it over to Meredith. Thank you for coming, Meredith.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be able to share with you some of the new things that our county implemented for virtual instruction that has made virtual instruction a lot easier than it was when we started this journey last March 13th. So as you remember, last March 13th, the schools shut down. And we were all thought we were going to be coming back to school in 2 weeks after spring break. And that turned into a month, turned into several months. And then we finally got back in the fall. And so I am lucky that I am one of the in-school teachers. So I thought I would just give you some background about how Ressie Jeffries is doing virtual education this year. Our school is rather large. So we have a large staff, and my team in particular has 4 teachers. Well, at the beginning of the year, the parents were given the option to choose a hybrid version of education or a completely virtual education. So I am the hybrid teacher. So that means that I have kids that come to school every day, which is, it's amazing because there's many ways that just teaching virtually challenges teachers and students. And I'll get to that in a minute. But we have one teacher on our team that is just a strictly virtual educator. So all of her kids are virtual. She doesn't ever have any in-school interaction with her kids. So I thought I would share with you my screen, if I know how to do this. We use Google in class, so I have Google Meet, so I'm not really sure. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see, it's not letting me. It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Let me see if I can fix that.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'll just go ahead and let you know that I have 30 kids in school. My classroom is divided between 2 physical rooms. So I have 15 and 15, and I have an assistant, and we rotate throughout the day. So I'm the reading teacher, and my partner is the math teacher. So my kids actually get to see me for a little over an hour a day. So even though they're my students, I'm not with them all day long, which is new and different and very difficult to accept because my kids are my kids and I want to be with them. So let me see if I can share now. Oh, there we go.
You should be able to. My apologies. I'd clicked on the wrong button.
That's okay. Let's see. I don't know if, nope, I don't want to do that. Oops. I might not be able to do this. I don't know how to do it on here. I'm sorry. That's okay though. I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about some things that what I was going to show you was this program called Schoology, which is where the kids go to get all their virtual instruction. So if I have a kid that has to be quarantined, which has happened several times this year, they go virtual, but they're still my students. So what I do is at 8:15 in the morning, I pull up a Google Meet and that kid is virtually with me throughout the day. So they still get direct instruction. I think that is more beneficial than just sending home a bunch of worksheets that, they would still be able to get the direct instruction. But Debbie asked me to share with you some of the challenges of virtual education. So I've been a public school educator for 24 years. And one of the most important things to me is building rapport. And this year, that has been one of the biggest challenges for the kids that are virtual. Or when we went virtual for all those days, at the beginning when they weren't sure how things were going to work. Building rapport is so important, and you've got to have that personal connection. And education now is not just math and reading and science and social studies. It's learning about a child's family and learning about their interests and learning about the things that go on in their life once they leave me, because throughout the day, I can make all these deposits, positive deposits into their bank of life. And when they get home, in some cases, unfortunately, there are more withdrawals than there are deposits put into their life. So when they're with me physically, I feel like I get to connect with them on a deeper level. So I feel like the virtual teachers I've spoken to that are just virtual, that is probably the biggest challenge that they have, is they're missing that connection where they really get to know their students. Because in education, if I can get a kid to feel loved by me and feel safe with me, then I can teach them. if they don't have that, then it's even more difficult for them to learn from me. Some other things academically that are difficult with virtual education is active engagement. How do you get kids to be actively involved when they're behind a computer screen? You know, I'm elementary, so we're up and down and all around and making, you know, things and using our hands. So when you have that computer screen, it's a hindrance, I believe, to the active student engagement. And that's true for getting students to respond as well. Research has shown that if you have kids choral respond or use the dry erase boards where they can write their answer on the board, that helps the teacher understand where the children are in their learning and where they are in their understanding of the content. If we can't get that active student response or that engagement, and I can't see and hear them responding, it makes it that much more difficult for me to gauge where they are in their understanding. So that's difficult in planning and planning future lessons and trying to see where to go from there. Let's see, I teach reading and writing. So of course, writing has taken a big hit because if they're only on computer, they're typing, they're not writing. So their physical writing has just really suffered. It's been a big challenge with composing and teaching them how to write compositions and essays and sentences, even just regular sentences. So all of that aside, we're getting through it. And that's the beauty of public education and public school teachers. And a public school teacher isn't there for any other reason but because they love kids and they want to teach kids. And we're getting through it, and we're more stronger. I think we're stronger together as a team and as a staff, where we collaborate more and we're talking more and we're trying to discuss how to reach these kids. And while I do believe that we have been very successful with our educating, in educating the public this year virtually, I don't think that it's the best case scenario. I'm looking forward to those restrictions being lifted and for us to get back in the classroom as usual. That's what I'm hoping. But I've got to applaud our school system, and especially my school, Rusty Jeffries. We were faced with tremendous challenges, and with all the obstacles, I believe we've overcome it, and I believe that we're stronger for it. I do think that there's going to be large gaps that need to be filled, but I think we're capable of doing that. So if you guys have any questions, I'm open to answering them.
Do we have questions from anybody this morning? Elizabeth, I see your hand, and then Kathy, I see your hand as well.
Meredith, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I'm curious about what happens if you have a kid sign, like, do they have to have their screens on all the time if they're joining virtually? So wait, are you doing any virtual teaching at all?
Yes.
In the high schools, they have some of the kids there every day up until this week, and then the rest of the kids virtually, and then they cycle in and out.
Yes. So I teach virtually when I have a student that has to require virtual education. So if they're in quarantine, or if they're sick, or if they're out of town, they can join virtually. So what I do is I turn on the Google Meet at 8:15 every morning, and the kids join. In our school, if they don't join the Google Meet, for me in fourth grade at least, what we've decided is that they're not marked present for that day. So yes, they need to be with me in that Google Meet and present for the direct instruction in order to be counted present for me. And in some cases that has not been the case because some kids can't join virtually. So that's another challenge, is attendance. There are some kids in the county whose technology is we're very rural community. So there's technology issues all over Warren County. So the attendance part of it, the attendance piece of it has been very challenging, especially for teachers to accept. It's hard to mark a student present when they're not present. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But if they are unable to be physically present, that's not necessarily their fault. So in that case, they are marked present. But ideally, yes, they would be on their computer with their screen on, their camera on, so we can see their cute little faces and hear their little voices. And I think that is more prevalent in normal and elementary. I don't think that that's happening a whole lot in high school and in secondary. I think that they've had issues with students not putting on their cameras. But our school system has just, it's really, like I said, has really stepped up. And those kids that have had technology problems, they've offered hotspots to all students in Warren County. Every kid in Warren County has a Chromebook. So we're trying to do everything we can to meet these challenges just head on before they snowball out of control. And I think our school system has done a really good job. There's always going to be those kids that aren't going to comply and they're not going to turn on the camera. And I think part of that goes back to what I was talking about with building rapport. I think it has to do with your relationship with that student. And if you have a positive relationship with that student, they are more likely to engage with you. And so it's kind of goes full circle, but yeah, having their camera on would definitely be something that they would need to do, for me at least.
I think everybody in the Warren County public school system, from teachers and staff and administration, are just, oh my gosh, they've just put their heart and soul into trying to make the best that they can. So I applaud you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Kathy, you had a question?
Yes, thank you, Meredith, for being with us today. And I applaud what you're doing. Our daughter teaches high school in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And she has both virtual and in classroom students all the time. And she said it's been early on was very, very challenging because you had to be an IT specialist as well as a teacher and keep track of everybody and everything. Her concern right now is they're so far behind in the amount of material they're supposed to cover this year. And I know you said there were some gaps. How are you dealing with trying to fill those gaps?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. And I really don't know how to answer it other than, I'm the reading teacher, so my primary focus is reading comprehension in 4th grade. So that's the heavy hitters that I'm getting at every day, is comprehending, reading. We're reading every day. We're answering questions. We're thinking about the text. And in years past, I've had 2 hours to teach reading, writing, grammar, vocabulary, all that. I have an hour with my kids this year during our rotation because our class time's abbreviated. Our day is shorter. So those gaps, especially because I teach 4th grade. So when I get kids in the fall, they're 9 years old. They've just turned 9 years old and come from 3rd grade. And they are just learning they're not really learning how to read anymore. They're reading to learn. So when we left back at the middle of March, and they had really no direct instruction, because we did the best we could, but nobody knew what was happening. And none of us had ever used technology on a daily basis like this. We use technology, of course, but not for delivering instruction. It was all brand new. So essentially, the students went from March to September with no direct instruction in a lot of cases. Excuse me. So those gaps for my kids are enormous because they are new readers. They're reading to learn. They know how to read. They know the phonics. They know how to read words. But my challenge has always been, as a 4th grade teacher, putting all of that together and teaching them how to infer and all that good stuff. And I'm finding that it's something that I've had to pull back on a lot. I've had to really change my change my approach because the kids have so many gaps from that time away from their education. So we're trying to play catch up, but I'm not really sure how or if we're going to be able to close all of those gaps for all of those students. There are a lot of students where those gaps will not be filled, and that is heartbreaking. But all students don't learn the same, and they don't have the same intellectual ability. And when certain students go that long without any instruction, there's going to be gaps that can't be filled. So I don't think that that's the case for the majority of students. I think that we will all together get them back where they need to be. It's just going to take some time. So hopefully we'll all get there. We'll get them to where they're supposed to be comfortably. They're not struggling. That's the goal. I hope that answered your question.
It does, and my daughter has the same concerns, exactly. Yeah.
Michael, did you have a question for Meredith?
Yeah, first of all, Meredith, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Your mom and dad mean, well, your dad means the world to me. Your mom meant the world to me. And
Thank you.
I've never enjoyed washing my car as much as I have the past couple of years.
I know.
Go over
I
and
hear
check.
that from so many people. I just go by the car wash just to see your daddy. Yeah, I hear that a lot.
He's awesome. The question I have, and this is kind of the standard for me anytime we have an educator talk, is that what are the challenges you're facing with your children with special needs? You know, I look at a lot of the people that we deliver meals to for Ron for reaching out now, and I go to a lot of these homes, and you know, when I just the sociology brain in me, I look at the situation they're already living in. I look at the fact that these kids can't get on their computer, and then add to that they have special needs. What do you see in terms of a possibility of us losing a generation of kids, or those kids needing an extra year so that we can actually help them?
I think that all of the things that you just said are 100% correct and valid. And those are the same concerns shared by every educator I know. The special needs students and special need population has definitely suffered the most, as well as our socioeconomically deprived students, poverty. Those are going to be the hardest gaps to fill. And unfortunately, in some cases, they might be lost. And I don't know the answer to how to fix that, but I'll tell you what we are doing. Our team of special ed teachers at Ressie Jeffries, at least, is so wonderful. We have teachers all since March, at the end of March through the whole summer, home visits weekly, going in and checking on the kids, working with them, tutoring them. Teachers are just really going out of their way to do what they can to help fill these gaps and make a difference, and hopefully reverse some of the complacency, I guess, that has set in. And I think that's part of the problem. We have some students that are now just used to laying on their bed and turning on their computer. They're not engaged in anything. I don't think that's the majority of the kids, but for the special ed population and special needs, you know, I don't know if you all know this, my husband is a special ed teacher. He's the transitions coordinator at the school board office. So I hear a lot from him about the challenges that the special needs population is facing. All I can speak to is how hard our special ed teachers are working, and our assistants are working to help catch these kids up and help change some things. But you know, one of the most challenging things as a public school educator is accepting the fact that you cannot change the family that your students come from. Yeah. And unfortunately, there are parents that do not care as much as we care about their children's education. And that's hard to say. And I wish that wasn't true, but I do believe that that's a major challenge that these kids are facing. A lot of kids that come from poverty and come from a special needs background, they need and crave and depend on on school. That's the only safe space. That's the only consistent space in their life. And when that's disrupted, it can cause some challenges for them that I don't know that, at least in fourth grade, that they're able to cognitively overcome. You know, how does a fourth grade student who's 9 and 10 years old decide to set their alarm and wake up and get on the Zoom class or the Google class, you know, when they don't have a parent that's helping them remember that they need to do that. So I don't know how to answer your question.
You did.
The best way I can do it. I don't have the answer. I wish I did, but I don't.
No, it's sad. Not sadly, but I mean, you actually did answer it, believe it or not. And I think that a lot of it is just that we don't know. And I think we are in for one hell of a rude awakening in the next couple of years when we get these kids back in class and we actually see that divide, and not just the socioeconomic part, but also I call it the mental economic part.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Economic part, and it just seems like it's affected the more impoverished children more than anybody, and it just breaks my heart to see it. But God bless you for all you do, and thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Debbie, yes, ma'am.
Meredith, I understand a good percentage of the teaching population have now been vaccinated.
Yes.
I applaud you guys for teaching all during this time period without having the benefit of that comfort of having been vaccinated. How is the percentage at your school? Are most of them vaccinated, and does it give you more comfort in knowing that you're a little bit safer now?
Yes, and to answer your question, I believe 70% of our staff is vaccinated, which is wonderful. And yes, teaching in a school with a bunch of students, even with all of the mitigation, that's always in the back of your mind, you know, fear for your own health and fear for bringing something home to your own family. And as you all know, that I've suffered a great loss with COVID in my family. So that was really difficult and scary. And so when I got vaccinated, I was thrilled because I felt a lot safer. So I'm really happy that 70% of our staff got vaccinated. And you know what? The kids have not cared about wearing masks. I know a lot of parents don't want their kids to wear masks and think that we shouldn't have children wearing masks, but a lot of people don't realize the kids don't care. They just want to be in school. So they did everything that we asked them to do. They wore their masks, they washed their hands, they sat in their seat. They do it all day long because the only thing that they want is to be there. The ones that are there, they want to be in school. And I think that's one positive thing that may have come out of that whole shutdown back then, is that at the beginning kids were like, oh yay, no school, that's great. Well, after a while they start to realize how much they value it and how much they want to be there. So we have a lot of kids who have a newfound love for school because they know what it's like not to have it. So that's one positive thing, but I hope that answered your question.
Well, hopefully it's the mask have kept your staffs healthier this year, because we all know elementary kids are germy.
Yes, they are, very much so. And we've only had, I think we've had 3 staff infections this year and maybe 4 or 5 students with COVID. So our custodial staff and all the mitigation that they're doing and all the teachers making sure that the kids are wearing their masks and washing their hands. And they've just done such a tremendous job that COVID has not been a problem in our school. And that's one thing I hope our community understands, is how hard our school system worked to provide a safe space for these students to come back. In our surrounding counties, we've had schools shutting down left and right for COVID. So we haven't had that in Warren County. So I'm really proud of the way that they've handled this and strive to get our kids back in school as safely as possible.
I'm sorry our technology didn't accommodate your presentation, but you've done an excellent job with your questions
That's
and
okay. It's
answers.
probably not the technology. It's probably me not knowing how to use the technology. Just because we use Google Meet, so I'm not familiar with Zoom. But I'm so grateful that you all asked me to come, because I hope that it helped to maybe ease your mind on how public education has been going in our community. Because I feel like there are many things we've been doing successfully. And I hope that it answered any of your questions you might have had about how we're teaching our kids this year.
Please give your dad a big hug from all of us.
Please
Will
do.
do.
Yeah.
Will do.
Are there
Thank
any
you so
other questions? Sorry, before we finish up?
Just a comment, Debbie mentioned how germy children are. I know some 55-year-old ball guys that are pretty germy too.
Meredith, thank you again. I do have one last question that I have to ask. Both my parents were public educators, and my mother's next closest sister was a 4th grade teacher. And that was back in the day when we learned cursive as well as printing.
Yes.
So I have to ask, because of the virtual aspect of learning, how do you approach teaching writing skills these days? I realize that they may require a long answer, but I'm just really curious how you manage that.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because I have in-school students. So my kids write every day. I don't use the Chromebooks on a daily basis. And I know my 4th grade partner who's doing the virtual all virtual, everything is typed. So it is going to be we're going to have maybe a generation of kids that don't know how to write, either by forming the letters or by even composing sentences. Although next year when we get back in the swing of things, I'm sure that that'll rectify itself. But it's hard because writing, I feel like as a society, we're pulling away from writing, actually. And I don't know how I feel about that. I still teach handwriting. I still teach composition and how to compose with the written word instead of on a Chromebook or on a computer. But I think the times are changing when we get to the physical aspect of writing, unfortunately. I don't want that to happen, but it feels like that's what's happening. But I'm going to do everything I can to stop it, because I think we still need to write. They need to know how to write. They need to know how to sign their name. They need to know how to fill out job applications. So these are important things. So I'm not going to ever stop writing.
Thank you. Debbie, yes, ma'am.
Is there a summer component that y'all are working on at this point?
Oh, yes, ma'am, there is. We are offering summer school. I'm not sure of the details. I know that it is not, well, we only have a 5-week summer vacation anyway. So school gets out really late this year, June 18th, and teachers are back first Monday in August. So we have a 5-week turnaround. Which personally, I would be a fan of year-round school. I think that there's a lot of research to support that. So I feel that 5 weeks actually is going to benefit us when we're restarting next year, because we won't have so much time lapse, and that particular summer gap won't be as big. But we are offering summer school. Usually summer school is always offered to special education students. It's called ESY, but I do believe we're offering summer school for the general ed population as well.
Well, thank you again, Meredith. Thank you for all you're doing to educate our children, and thank you for joining us this morning. We don't give our speakers a gift. What we do instead is we donate a book to a local preschool or daycare in their honor. So this week, this book, Just Stole My Cat, which if you look at Barbara Acton's screen, you'll see it, written and illustrated by Richard Byrne, is going to be presented to the Gear Preschool. So and it will have a sticker in the front that is donated in your honor. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's great.
All right, Rob Graham, before we finish up, we've got a Spirit Award to bestow.
Yes, we do. Hang on, let me switch over. Calculate, which is shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And then the winner is Barbara Acton. Look at
Barbara
that.
Acton, congratulations.
Sorry, Michael.
Excellent.
I know where Kathy's basement is.
Yeah, me too.
Again, it gets added to the growing, ever-growing list for when we're finally able to be together again. Are there any other announcements?
Just to let you know, Ron and I are cleaning out our basement, so.
I'll help. I'll gladly help.
All right, our meeting next week is Club Assembly. And if there are no other announcements, I think we are ready for the four-way test. If you all will join me in reciting that, please, of the things.
The things we think, say, or do.
First
First
is
is the truth.
Second
Second,
is fair to
ever
all
thought
concerns.
concern.
Third
Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships.
friendships. And fourth,
Fourth,
will be beneficial to all
all
concerned.
concerned.
Thank you, and we are adjourned. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks again,
Bye.
Meredith. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good week, guys.
You all have a good week. Let's see, is Kathy still on? No, she's gone off. Okay, all right. See you all soon. Mary Jo, I'll give you a yell later and I'll send you that link.
But, okay, now I'm confused. What link for which?
For Gary Norris.
Oh, thank
I'll
you.
forward
Oh,
you Gary.
gotcha. Yeah, thank you.